When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me.
Welcome everybody to Sim Racing Media. Tonight we play host to the Monsters of Speed NewGen Cup Series. Live from Talladega, it is their Talladega Throwback 200, brought to you by Kids Lawn Care Service. We definitely should be seeing some nice throwback paint schemes. Last week was dominated by Blake Howell, leading 106 of 122 laps at Worldwide Technology Center. This week, it's going to be up to somebody else. As we were talking to Blake last week, that he wasn't going to be able to make it this week unless something changed. And right now, looking at the entry list, looks like nothing has really changed to allow him to compete tonight, but he will be back next week for Vegas. And when they go to Vegas, that is when they're going to start another round of their Scratch and Claw mid-season tourney, which we'll see Cogswell and Parkhurst go against each other in Howell and Missler before they head to Auto Club to finish it out. Dylan McDonald was able to pull off a second place finish, followed by Mark Parkhurst. Mark Parkhurst has been inside the top 5 in every race this season, so he definitely has the lead in points. So Mark Parkhurst, Blake Howell, Ricky Gonzalez, Greg Wood, Austin Missler, Jonathan Cogswell, Kevin Gibney Jr., Ira Kohlhaas, Dylan McDonald, and George Jewell round out the top 10. Last time we were here at Talladega, Greg Wood was able to bring home the win, and Angel Gonzalez finished second. So we'll see it, or Angel Santiago finished second, and Gonzalez finished third. So as we wrap up practice here, they'll get ready to get qualifying. They will have 2 laps. Fastest guy on track right now is John McIntyre, but that's probably with somebody pushing or him drafting with somebody else. And that's at 50 seconds. So when they get on the track, these times are going to be a little bit slower, but this is Superspeedway racing, so it'll all be about who you can trust and who you're going to help and who's going to be able to help you. Looks like they're just getting out on track here. Jonathan Cogswell starting his first lap. He's staying clear down on the bottom. Exit his pit exit and moves right out to that outside wall. What you want to do at these super speedways, especially when you're single car qualifying, is you want to get up to that high line and run as fast as you can to get as much speed built up as you can. And when you come to that start finish line, you want to drop down to the inside line and take the shortest way around the track. We saw that today when the Xfinity cars were making their qualifying runs as well. So you should see him start to drift down to the bottom and get right on that yellow line as he makes his way through turn 1. Anybody else is close to putting up a time? It doesn't look like it at the moment. Looks like Greg Wood Jr. just threw up his time of a 53.74. Ricky Gonzalez a 53.88. Wes Fuller a 54.42. Austin Missler a 54.52. David Mazepin a 53.81. Cogswell with a 53.85. Trying to carry as much speed as he can until he gets that start finish line. And he slows down to 54.01. So that second lap seems to be the fastest one that they can run. Angel Santiago, a 54.54. Austin Missler, 54.46. Zach Woods put down a pretty fast time of a 53.90. George Jewell up towards the front, 53.85. Angel Santiago improved his second lap of a 53.76 and is right off of the pole of Greg Wood Jr. Michael in the chat is asking if it's live and stuff. This definitely is live. It is on iRacing. Do this every Friday night for these guys. John McIntyre with the 53.91. Bill Sleep with the 54 flat, but his best time was a 53.87. Kevin Gibney Jr. with the 53.90. Like Mark Parkhurst is getting ready to finish his lap here. $54.75. He's riding that high line. If he's able to improve his time here. Mark Gonzalez jumped up with a 53.83. Evan Gibney Jr. finishing his lap here. $53.86. Mark Parkhurst is still up high. He ran the exact same time again. Now he ducks down to the inside. We'll see if he's going to be able to improve his time and get up more to the pole. He's usually one of the faster cars. It looks like he took 2 laps to get that high line to get as much momentum as he could. And he's making his way down through 3 and 4 here. The thing about Talladega is the start-finish line isn't right at the middle of that D oval there. Clear at the other end. So you have to make your way through that in order to get to the finish line. He did improve his time, but not by much with the 53.90. Matt Langley here. 54.13 in his first lap. See if he goes a little bit faster this time. And he does. 53.91. Makes this last lap faster. Doesn't seem to be. Looks like he's losing some time. Couple thousandths faster. 53.89. It looks like everybody has qualified here. Well, they're doing that. Go ahead and take a look here at the race info. It is the Throwback Dega 200 presented by Kids Lawn Service. I'm Mike Demoney up in the booth as always. It is a Superspeedway. So we'll definitely see a lot of drafting and who you can work with and who you can't. We are in for 80 laps tonight. Stage breaks at 20 and 40. This should just about be wrapping up qualifying. But if you do have a minute, you can always check out Kids Lawn Service on Facebook. They are a small business located in Calvert County, specializing in hardscape design and maintenance and landscape design. Getting ready here to grid. Get these guys all set up here. You have 19 cars that have shown up tonight. Starting on the pole is Greg Wood Jr. Angel Santiago just to his outside. George Jewell starts P3. Zach Woods P4. Row 3, David Mazepin, Mark Gonzalez. Then we go row 4, John J. McIntyre, Jonathan Cogswell, Austin Missler, and Kevin Gibney Jr. in row 5. Row 6, Bill Sleep, and Bud Barnes. And we've got Ricky Gonzalez and Wes Fuller in row 7. And then we go to Matt Langley and James McCanney, Mark Parkhurst, Ira Kohlhaas, and David Mayo bringing up the tail end here. Well, like I said, 80 laps. Stage breaks at 20 and 40. So we'll definitely see these guys try and race and get as many points as they can. Do have teammates on the front row, so we will see if they're gonna work together and get hooked up and try and gap this field a little bit. We will probably see side-by-side racing, probably probably 4 or 5 car packs in each lane. There are 19 cars in the field, so they definitely have plenty of time to work through the field and make a run towards the end. I feel at Dega that there's no real reason why you're out of the race, as long as you have somebody that you can push or is pushing you. Greg Wood Jr. does have the button as they make their way out of the 3-4 path here. Pace car should be heading down pit lane. Then they've got a little ways to go until they hit that Geico restart zone and that start finish line that's on the other side of the oval here. They're kind of already spread out a little bit. You got who's that in the middle already? Looks like Mark Gonzalez already making it 3 wide. Even before they make it to the start finish line almost. Greg Wood out to a lead. Angel Santiago jumps in behind George Jewell. and they will set up here and try and start some drafting to get some space between them and the pack. They're still racing all sorts of 3 and 4 wide back here in the middle of the field. Cogswell is trying to get by Mark Gonzalez there. Mark Gonzalez is stuck in that outside lane. Cogswell trying to get down, looks like. Bud Barnes behind him. Those two cars are going to work together here. And you got the 20 of James McCanney and Kevin Gibney Jr. down on that low line as everybody kind of jumps around. And it looks like Mark Gonzalez had to go to the back of the pack after making him 3 wide there. Zach Woods on that outside lane is trying to hook up with the Bud Barnes and Cogswell there. They can't quite get it. Zach Woods was the fastest lap that time of 49.88. He is flying. Almost a second faster than the leader was that lap. Jumps to the outside, going to push it 3 wide. But he just had that huge run. And is going to try and get it to continue there, but it looks like he's going to have to drop down and get behind Austin Missler there. Go back up front. Greg Wood and George Jewell have been 1-2 throughout. Angel Santiago right behind them in P3. Dave Mazeppa and Bill Sleep are sitting in 4 and 5. And then we got these other guys here. We got, looks like John McIntyre jumped out to the outside row in front of Cogswell. We got Cogswell, Bud Barnes, and Austin Missler in that high line trying to do work. Got Matt Langley back here. Mark Parkhurst is up 4 positions right at the moment. Got Ira Kohlhaas, David Mayo, Wes Fuller, 62 of Bill Sleep jumped out to that outside row in front of the 20 of James McCanney. But outside line is starting to kind of form up a little bit, but they just can't seem to get the run that these first 4 have. Greg Wood Jr., George Jewell, and Angel Santiago and Dave Mazeppa has been working really well together. And it looks like Angel was going to help George Jewell, but elected to stay behind his teammate. As Bill Sleep gets a huge run, and that outside line is moving up fast. Sleep is right to the outside of 3rd place runner Angel Santiago, and they are looking for more if they can stay together. But that outside line keeps bouncing around, almost like a slinky. They can't seem to stay nose to tail very well. That outside line starting to back up now. George Jewell is leading the race. Greg Wood Jr. jumps to his outside. Angel Santiago stays down on the bottom. Like he's going to be comfortable just to ride in 3rd and let these guys switch places there as he gets right into the back bumper of Jewell, as Jewell slows down just a little bit. Greg Wood Jr. is now leading that outside line. But maybe he's trying to get them to settle down and make a run at it here, as there's a third line forming with the 20 of James McCanney and the 2 of John McIntyre. They're trying to make it work, but they just lost a little bit of ground. Looks like they had to slow down when they came through the corner. We got Greg Wood Jr. on the outside, George Jewell on the inside, back and forth to see who's going to lead this lap as they come out of the D. George Jewell leads that time. But Greg Wood Jr. has got a tremendous push from Bill Sleep and Jonathan Cogswell. But Angel Santiago is right on the back bumper of George Jewell. See if we can get a close look at it here. Go to Angel Santiago and look at his nose there. See if he gets close enough again. Looks like he gets almost right on him and just touches him, gives him a little bit of a bump and shoots him back out towards the front. These guys are still battling up front, side by side. Greg Wood Jr. and George Jewell. Angel Santiago and Bill Sleep are side by side. Dave Mazeppa and Jonathan Cogswell side by side as well. That outside line has a huge run going. And Greg Wood Jr. is going to take the lead for the moment. Looks like he's going to stay in that outside lane. Looks like they're just going to try and control this race. Pulse Graphics teammates here. Like I said, we're going to have 2 lines. And they are definitely making this work. As we're halfway through to the stage break. Greg Wood Jr. gets over a car length lead in front of that inside line. As we do that, why don't we go ahead and go to a little bit of a turn it up segment here in a second. Get these guys rolling here. And I will be back shortly. As you went around the track there, you saw several different camera angles we got. But it looks like that outside line is just not working out very well. You can't seem to stay nose to tail as Kevin Gibney Jr. gets just a little low and almost into the left rear quarter panel of David Mazepin. But out front, Angel Santiago and George Jewell are leading by 0.2 of a second. Greg Wood Jr. decided he's had enough of that outside line and jumps down behind Santiago. They got a little bit loose back there. Looks like Kevin Gibney Jr. is down on the apron. Gonna work his way towards the back of the field. Now the front four: George Jewell, Santiago, Wood, Sleep, then Cogswell. But George Jewell just keeps filling that chrome horn from Santiago there, and is keeping him out in front. Looks like everybody was able to avoid that checkup there. Santiago had to run and nowhere to go. It looks like everybody stayed clean and it's still green. That's the thing about these super speedways. You get a little bit of run and you don't have anywhere to go. You lift for just not even half a second and you're already slower than the other cars. So you got to find somewhere to go. But we got George Jewell, Angel Santiago, Greg Wood Jr., Jonathan Cogswell. Looks like Mark Gonzalez is mixed in here right in front of Cogswell. And Cogswell is right on his back bumper. He'll be completing lap 15 this time by. We'll have 5 laps until the stage break. Mark Gonzalez is battling back up to get his lap back, it looks like. Oh! And we have a massive wreck. That was absolutely crazy. Go back and take a look here. Take a look from the drone cam here. That's gonna be a little too far away. Go to the chopper. All right, so we got a nice run going here. Mark Gonzalez on the outside is a lap car. Looks like he just got sucked into Mark Gonzalez there as he was side drafting. Pins him into the wall and then around, and we've got Cole Hollis, John McIntyre, looks like Ricky Gonzalez, Angel Santiago, looks like everybody's coming into pit. So it looks like there's just 2 cars that stayed out, Bill Sleep and David Mazepin. The how this is gonna go here. All right, so we're supposed to have a stage break at 20. We'll see. They're still gonna do that, or what we're gonna do as we wait on them to get this last caution sorted out here. David Mazepin headed to pit road, as is Wes Fuller. Should start stacking up here shortly. Bill Sleep stays to the inside, Cogswell to the outside. Missler inside. John J. McIntyre outside. Greg Jr. inside. Bud Barnes outside. Kevin Gibney Jr. inside, James McCaney outside, George Jewell inside, Matt Langley outside. We'll be completing lap 19 this time by. So it looks like Bill Sleep will have the button up 10 positions. Jonathan Cogswell up 6. Austin Missler up 6. John J. McIntyre up 3. Sleep will have the button. And we'll get started when it comes to that Geico restart zone. Pace car should be making that hard left-hand turn here shortly. Field will be under Bill Sleep's control. As he gets to the Geico restart zone, he will be able to go whenever he feels he is ready. And he is down and away. That outside lane just slowed way down. Looks like Cogswell and McIntyre were going to work together, but McIntyre avoided that plan and went right down to that bottom line. We got Bill Sleep, Austin Missler, Greg Wood Jr., John McIntyre, Kevin Gibney Jr., Bud Barnes, Jonathan Cogswell, George Jewell, Mark Parkhurst, James McCaney. And Austin Missler gets a pretty good run coming out of the corner with Greg Wood Jr. right behind him. Greg Wood Jr. jumps that outside lane with Kevin Gibney Jr. behind him and George Jewell, Mark Parkhurst. So the teammates are kind of back at it again as George Jewell gets a little loose and comes down to the apron. iRacing in the YouTube chat, cheering on his team, Titletown Racing. Greg Wood Jr. is back out front. Kevin Gibney Jr. is right behind him. Kevin Gibney Jr. is up 8 positions. Mark Parkhurst had a horrible qualifying effort for him, it seemed like. He's up 13 positions now, sitting P4. Bud Barnes and Jonathan Cogswell are trying to make that outside line work. They've been working pretty well together through the most of the laps. Mark Gonzalez is back behind them. As Austin Missler gets a little bit loose in that inside line. And Bud Barnes is now up in second place, as it looks like that outside line has found the cars that seem to work well together. David Mayo back just a little ways. Kevin Gibney Jr. is all over the back bumper of Greg Wood Jr., trying to push him towards the front. That outside line just has a heck of a run after they've got these 3 cars pretty much nose to tail. And they're not bouncing around like the accordion they were last time. But Greg Wood Jr. goes from 1st to 6th pretty quick here. If they can get that inside line locked in. That inside line seems to be just a little bit faster. So as they're going through the corners, you're gonna go ahead and go side by side racing. Once again, if you're in the YouTube chat, definitely tell me who you think's gonna win or what's gonna happen. If you're on Facebook, definitely hit that like, follow, share. You know what you need to do. And I will be back shortly. Welcome back, everybody. That was just a quick little 30-second break, but we are back with the Monsters of Speed Racing League NewGen Cup Series Throwback 200 at Talladega, brought to you by Kids Lawn Service. Once again, if you need anything done with your lawn care, definitely don't be afraid to hit them up there on Facebook at Kids Lawn Service, or if you're in Colbert County anyway. Looks like the leaders are slowly starting to catch a couple lap cars here. Jonathan Cogswell jumped down to the inside after getting the heck of a push from Bud Barnes there. But Cogswell is now leading Greg Wood Jr. and Kevin Gibney Jr. And we've got George Jewell, Mark Parkhurst, John J. McIntyre, all on that inside row. Like I said, as soon as they could hook up and didn't get that massive accordion effect, that inside line was definitely where you're going to want to be. So we got 12 laps left until stage number 2. Go back and take a look here. We got Zach Woods and Angel Santiago still staying on the lead lap. They're about 14 seconds behind this group up here. But they definitely have lost that draft and are just kind of hanging out. They are running about 3 seconds slower than the leaders are, so they're going to catch him pretty quick. So we got Cogswell, Wood Jr., Gibney Jr., George Jewell, and Gibney Jr. jumps that outside line and gets right in front of Mark Gonzalez. And then they wind up going almost 3 wide. Kevin Gibney Jr. out to that way high line. Mark Gonzalez is still racing, basically racing with the leaders, but he's a couple laps down at the moment. Dave Mazepin as well. He's staying high, staying out of the way. So you'll see a lot of this nice side-by-side racing. Nice nose-to-tail racing. But it'll all change as soon as we get within a couple laps to go. Like I said, it's going to be who you can trust. Or who's going to push you just to the front, or who's basically going to stay behind you and not try and take advantage. As Cogswell just gets left in the dust by Greg Wood Jr. and George Jewell as they jump out and pick up Mark Parkhurst. And those 3 cars put almost 0.4 of a second on Cogswell there. Cogswell jumps out to the outside, but Mark Gonzalez is hopped out with him. Like Mark Gonzalez is just trying to race anybody he can there, as Cogswell is pushing him. Bud Barnes is right behind him as Parkhurst gets spun see here. Let's take a look here. You can get a different camera angle here. So John McIntyre just gets a nice little run and just can't get off of the 4. Winds up spinning him. But they're staying green. Jonathan Cogswell is the leader, even though Mark Gonzalez is leading this pack. Cogswell and Barnes with Austin Missler. Austin Missler down to the inside, gets in front of George Jewell and Greg Wood Jr. Ricky Gonzalez jumps down to the inside, gets a massive run, and it's going to be not quite enough to get up with that outside group of Gonzalez, Cogswell, and Bud Barnes. But both Gonzalez's are not on the lead lap, but they are leading both of these packs. As the 8 gets spun, back and take a look at this real quick. Like he's kind of bouncing all over the place. The 5 of West Fuller is trying to stay with him. Floating back and forth. And just gets a little bit too much of a run, gets him loose. And around he goes. And we stay green. So back up front, it's still Cogswell and Greg Wood Jr. battling it out with Mark Gonzalez leading that inside lane. But these guys have definitely gapped the field a little ways. We got 5 laps to the caution for the stage break. That little hiccup there definitely spread out the field quite a bit. So there are definitely going to be cars looking forward to that stage break so they can get caught up and get this field back together again. We got Cogswell, Barnes, Wood, Jewell, Missler, the top 5. And only 4 of them are in this lead pack, as Mark Gonzalez is leading it, but he is multiple laps down. As you can see from that side view there, Cogswell is all over his back bumper, pushing him as hard as he can. Going 200 miles an hour without any little bit of a mistake. You can see how quick that could turn into a disaster. We're going to be completing lap 37 this time by... We'll have a couple laps left until we complete lap 40. See if anything changes on this run, this massive run these guys have put together, gapping the second group of cars by almost 5 seconds right now. We got the Roasted Gems coffee on Jonathan Cogswell. Speed Monsters on Bud Barnes. Adrenaline on Greg Wood Jr. there. Nos on George Jewell. Austin Missler still has that Mountain Dew. They just were able to lap Parkhurst there. Which is fine if you're Mark Parkhurst, because you know in a couple of laps they're going to throw that competition caution there, the stage break, and you will be able to get your lap back. So you're not too worried about that unless they wind up catching Zach Woods and Angel Santiago here. But it looks like they've got a little bit of time. They just completed lap 39. They'll complete this lap here. So now we've got Greg Wood Jr. leading with George Jewell second, Jonathan Cogswell third, Bud Barnes in fourth, Austin Missler in fifth, James McCaney sixth. We'll see if anything changes up front here. As Cogswell makes a pass on George Jewell, now gets into second. As they come to the Geico restart zone, they'll come out and get to the start finish line. Greg Wood Jr. wins the stage, Jonathan Cogswell in second, George Jewell third, Bud Barnes in fourth, Austin Missler, James McCaney, Kevin Gibney Jr., Wes Fuller, David Mayo, and John McIntyre round off the top 10 for points for the stage. We'll let these guys get their pit stops done, and we'll go ahead and talk to our stage winner shortly. So it looks like everybody pitted on lap 17. A couple that made their first stop at 23. We'll probably have one more pit stop when we get to before we get to the end here. We've got a couple guys jumping into the pits already. We'll see after we get this all situated here. Everybody's gonna hit pit road, so after he gets to his pit stall, we'll go ahead and pull Greg Wood Jr. in here. Four tires here. He is back on track, so we'll see if we can get a hold of him real quick. Hey Greg, Mike up in the booth, got a copy?
Sure do.
Hey man, tremendous race. Basically what we were expecting, lots of drafting. What's the plans for this longer stint here?
Plan, I'll probably drop to the back now that all the stage points are over with. I try to stay out of trouble as much as possible. I mean, if it works out to where I can stay in the front, I'll stay in the front. But all my teammates are going to drop to the back because they got points and one of them already used their fast repair. So, of course, here at Talladega, teamwork makes the dream work. So I'll do whatever my teammates want to do.
Definitely, it seemed like teammates working together is what kept you guys up front for so long. Is the outside line able to work together, able to hang on, or is that inside line just so much faster?
Actually, the outside line's faster than the inside line. If the outside line can stay formed up, the inside lane does not have a chance on corner exit.
Well, awesome. I'll let you get back to the drive-in here, and maybe I'll talk to you at the end.
All right, thank you.
Yep. All right, that was stage winner, Greg Wood Jr. there. Looks like Zach Woods stayed out. Probably playing a little bit of pit strategy here. Oh, he's coming to pit road this time. Wes Fuller in. Angel Santiago's still in the pits. Looks like he's trying to get his car all fixed up there. Looks like he does. He'll still stay on that lead lap. But we will stack him back up here and turn him loose again. Looks like Greg Wood Jr.'s down on the bottom. Jonathan Cogswell up high. Austin Missler stays low. Bud Barnes goes high. James McCanney low. Kevin Gibney Jr. high. Dave's John McIntyre low. George Jewell high. David Mayo low. Got a few lap cars mixed in here. Backwoods, Mark Gonzalez, Angel Santiago. But as these guys get stacked back up, definitely see if this race goes the way that a few of the drivers were expecting. Like we're going to see some strategy plays here. There's going to be 36 laps or so to the finish. As we're going to complete lap 44. Go green on 45. Greg Wood Jr. has the button. So we'll see if he's going to work a little slow to kind of go back towards the back, or if he's gonna stay up front here with Austin Missler right behind him. At outside line of Cogswell and Bud Barnes, those two cars have been working well together and able to keep that draft going. So we'll see what happens here as Greg Wood Jr. is down and away. Already has 0.3 of a second lead over Austin Missler, so that's going to go away as soon as this outside line hooks up and gets that run. As they are hooking up pretty quick here. You look that outside line, they're bumper to bumper. Kevin Gibney Jr., Bud Barnes, and Jonathan Cogswell. As Austin Missler shoots to the middle, and now they are 3 wide through the first 2 rows. I don't think Austin Missler wanted to be there, but kind of where he wound up being as he went to jump to that outside line, but that outside line got a little bit of a run, and he wasn't able to get in front of Cogswell there. They are still racing almost 3 wide. Kevin Gibney Jr. is all over that back bumper of Austin Missler, and he is going to make a run towards the front here. It's out in front of Cogswell with Bud Barnes behind them. Those 3 cars were working pretty good at the first start of this run here, but don't seem to be able to stay hooked up as Kevin Gibney Jr. jumps down to the inside. So Kevin Gibney Jr. and Greg Wood Jr. hook up and are trying to make that high line work as Gibney Jr. jumps down to the inside again. Cogswell and Bud Barnes get a run and might be able to clear Missler. But not quite enough cars hooked up there. As we were talking to Greg Wood Jr. after that stage break, he said that outside line would be faster if they could just stay together, but it doesn't look like anybody's been able to bring that to fruition here. Austin Missler just almost inside the left rear quarter panel there of Kevin Gibney Jr. As Cogswell jumps down to the inside, Bud Barnes to his outside. Bud Barnes still has that run. Wes Fuller trying to close that gap of Bud Barnes and maybe be able to push him towards the front. You see these guys back to the middle of the pack just kind of basically shuffling around, not really staying in line with anybody. And a complete lap 48 this time by. Cogswell's probably wishing that this week was counted in the Scratch and Claw tournament. That doesn't resume until next week. It'll be him and Mark Parkhurst doing battle. And you got Austin Missler battling Blake Howell. But Greg Wood Jr. just seems to be hanging out up front here. Looks like he can push or be pushed. Try not to make any enemies up here. At Roasted Jim's Coffee, 27 forward of Jonathan Cogswell has been able to lead a few laps here. Definitely, if you are into specialty coffees, go ahead and hit them up as well. I'll jump back to Bud Barnes here. We can get a good look at this one here. The Kids Lawn Care, or Kids Lawn Service, threw his name on this race. Wanted the throwback Dega. So definitely go to their Facebook page, look them up. If you're in the Culver County area, they do all the hardscapes and general landscaping. Happy to get in touch with them and they'll give you a quote on what you want done. And Kevin Gibney Jr. is now leading this race. Austin Missler's pushing up on that outside lane with Bud Barnes. They seem to be able to work together there. Looks like Cogswell's almost going to get stuck in the middle as Kevin Gibney Jr. jumps up to try and side draft them, but not enough room. Greg Wood Jr. stays low. Cogswell's stuck in the middle there between Ricky Gonzalez and Gibney Jr. Mark Gonzalez as well. Looks like Mark Gonzalez was almost looking to make it 4 wide through that corner. Kevin Gibney Jr. gives a stout push there to the 5 of Wes Fuller. But Austin Missler's out front with Bud Barnes giving him a big push. They can stay hooked up like this, they are going to be the fastest cars on the track. Still the fastest lap of the race though, and the only lap I believe under 49 or under 50 is a 49.88 by Zach Woods. These guys are 3 wide throughout the racetrack here. Ricky Gonzalez stuck up high, David Mazepin, Austin Missler, Mark Parkhurst, Greg Wood Jr., and Bud Barnes. They got all sorts of out of shape there. Jonathan Cogswell and Mark Gonzalez are now 1-2. Mark Gonzalez had that early penalty and has battled back. Take a look here at what happened. We can see what happened here. Dave Mazepin, Bud Barnes, Greg Wood Jr., Angel Santiago. Oh. Oh. So Mazepin, Greg Wood Jr., and they just bounced around. When you're 3 and 4 wide, there's nothing you can do about that. So, completing lap 54. I imagine we're going to see basically, I would think everybody's going to pit here, make their last pit stop and try and make it to the end. Because they should have enough fuel if they pit here. And tires really are not going to matter here at a super speedway. Cogswell, Gonzalez pit, Fuller, Missler, Santiago, McIntyre, Wood Jr. Everybody pits there. The only one that didn't looks like is Kevin Gibney Jr. And it looks like Bill Sleep as well. Bill Sleep took the wave around. Kevin Gibney Jr. staying out on track right now. Last pitted on lap 42. We'll see if he's going to maybe do a little different strategy than some of these other guys. But it looks like Ira Kohlhaas and Zach Woods are going to get stuck behind him, so they're not going to be able to get the wave around and get their lap back that way. Basically have 25 laps to go after this. Like several cars are trying to get as much damage fixed as they can. Angel Santiago, Mark Gonzalez, and David Mayo all in pits for about 2 minutes. Are we going to come out just in front of the pace car? That way they stay on that lead lap. Should hit the start finish line and choose what side they want to go to. Oh, looks like Ira Jonathan Cogswell come back into the pits too. Don't know what that was about. Like just trying to get a little bit more fuel in there, it looks like. We've got Wes Fuller on the outside, Kevin Gibney Jr. on the inside, Bud Barnes on the outside, James McCanney inside, Greg Wood Jr. on the outside, John McIntyre inside, Jonathan Cogswell just coming off pit road now, as with Austin Missler, George Jewell, Mark Gonzalez, Angel Santiago. It looks like we'll only have a few cars here that are stacked up, then everybody else will be single file. We got 8 cars all lined up. Kevin Gibney Jr. will have the button. Wes Fuller just to his outside with Bud Barnes behind him. They get to that Geico restart zone here. Gibney Jr. is down and away. That's almost a 0.3 of a second lead. Wes Fuller gets a good jump on James McCanney here. But Bud Barnes and Greg Wood Jr. are hooked up, and they might be able to get a good run. Wes Fuller jumps out in front of Bud Barnes and jumps that outside line. So that outside line has Wes Fuller, Bud Barnes, Greg Wood Jr., Mark Parkhurst, and Jonathan Cogswell. Greg Wood Jr. jumps down to the inside in front of Kevin Gibney Jr. Like he's trying to get with his teammates there. As the 5 of Wes Fuller is leading this race now. But as teammates are working together here, looks like Mark Parkhurst jumps down to the inside and gets in front of Kevin Gibney Jr. So Greg Wood Jr. is back out front. Wes Fuller in second as Wes Fuller hops out to that outside line. Greg Wood Jr. jumps up to block him. Mark Parkhurst down to the inside in front of Kevin Gibney Jr. So Pulse Graphics is holding both lines at the moment. Mark Parkhurst and Greg Wood Jr. are leading these lines, with Wes Fuller giving Greg Wood Jr. one heck of a push. He's all over that back bumper. Kevin Gibney Jr. is floating up a little bit. Can't quite get comfortable behind Parkhurst. We'll have to see what he can do. We have 22 laps to go in this race. As we get towards 20 to go, I'm going to go ahead and step aside, go side by side, and I will see you on the other side. Well, that wasn't what I planned, as we have a caution on track. Go back here and we will take a look here at what happened here. Go back just a little bit. Looks like Matt Langley just gets a little bit of a run. David Mazepin floats up just a little bit, allowing Langley to get to the inside of his quarter panel there, and they spin around. So as we do that, I'm going to go ahead and take a break after I brought you that caution, and I will be back shortly.
Drivers that took time, all of them within 3.5 tenths of each other tonight, is going to be a very closely competitive race.
As the field works its way out of the 3-4 complex, the only thing that's left to say is wipe the visor, adjust the 5-point safety harness, because race fans, it's showtime!
Amazing looking cars already. Green flag will fly.
Oh, they're wrecking! Well, one thing that you're going to see at this track that we haven't seen the last few weeks is a surface that's multi-group. I think this is the first multi-group surface we're going to have.
After an amazing race at Daytona, we now come to the left coast and Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California for the second round of the Way She Goes Racing League Cup Series.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Monsters of Speed Racing League NewGen Cup Series Throwback Dega 200, presented by Kids Lawn Service. We are live on Sim Racing Media on YouTube and on Facebook. I'll go ahead and hit that subscribe, like, turn on bell notifications. You won't want to miss anything that we're doing. races 7 days a week here. And it looks like we have a little bit of a shakeup as we have a couple drivers electing to pit. Looks like from 5th on back. Greg Wood Jr., Wes Fuller, Kevin Gibney Jr., John J. McIntyre, Angel Santiago, James McCaney, Bill Sleep, George Jewell, Mark Parkhurst, and Zach Woods all elected to pit that time. But these first 4 elected to stay out: Bud Barnes, Jonathan Cogswell, Austin Missler, and Mark Gonzalez. So when we get going back green, we will have go back green after completing lap 63. We'll have under about 17 laps to go. Bud Barnes does have the lead right now, and will have that button. Stays down on the inside. Looks like Austin Missler is going to stay with him. Cogswell and Mark Gonzalez jump to that outside line. Greg Wood Jr. is staying low. Wes Fuller up high. Gibney Jr. and McIntyre split as well. Santiago stays low. I just see them make their way down the backstretch here. Here we go. Everybody getting stacked up here. Pace car ducks in. Bud Barnes has the button. Looks like Mark Gonzalez is right on the back bumper of Jonathan Cogswell. They make their way through D-shaped oval here. Come to the Geico restart zone. Bud Barnes is down and away. Austin Missler stays right with him. Greg Wood Jr. doesn't skip a beat as well. That outside line is currently sitting back in 4th. Greg Wood Jr. jumps up top as Bud Barnes and Austin Missler work that middle line. Greg Wood Jr. elects to hop back down to the bottom side. 17 laps to go. See if Greg Wood Jr. can get any help from Wes Fuller and Kevin Gibney Jr. But right now, Bud Barnes is getting pushed by Austin Missler, and he is staying out front. Angel Santiago made a big move there, hopping to the outside line. Now he's getting right behind Mark Gonzalez there. Austin Missler is pushing Bud Barnes fairly well. That outside line is able to hold off Greg Wood Jr. Looks like Angel Santiago was almost making it 3 wide there, but elected to not. Wes Fuller's front bumper disappeared into Greg Wood Jr.'s rear bumper. That's how close they are. Getting massive drafts there on that inside and outside line. The front 4 cars are within centimeters of the front and rear bumpers of each other for most of the track. Bud Barnes gets a push and bounces out a little ways. Greg Wood Jr. is battling on the inside line. He's going to take the lead here with Wes Fuller pushing him towards the front, but that outside line on corner exit is making it hard for Greg Wood Jr. to stay up there. They're definitely bump drafting on that bottom line. We have 15 laps to go. We're coming to the line that time. Bud Barnes leads that. Austin Missler is staying behind him about a quarter of a car. And they have got a massive run over that inside line if they can stay up there and stay that way. Cogswell's pushing them as well. That inside line just doesn't have enough speed to hang out with that outside line. Kind of talked about it with after that second stage with Greg Wood Jr. there. He said that outside line, if they get hooked up, that is where the speed is going to be as they got shaken up there. They are 4 wide. Everybody's gathered it in, and we stay green. One little hiccup going 200 miles an hour, and everybody was able to duck and dodge and keep racing. But Bud Barnes, Austin Missler, and Jonathan Cogswell on that outside line are making that work. The Gonzalez brothers are trying to hook up and make that third line work. Angel Santiago stuck in the middle between them. But they are still 3 wide. See if they're able to hold on here. So we got Bud Barnes on the outside line, Greg Wood Jr. on the inside line. Wes Fuller and Kevin Gibney Jr. are pushing Greg Wood Jr. Austin Missler and Jonathan Cogswell are pushing Bud Barnes. And Angel Santiago is stuck in the middle, 3 wide. Gonzalez on the outside and George Jewell on the inside. They're trying to figure out what way to make the most ground up here. As Angel is still stuck in the middle, 3 wide. He's making ground up, but he's still almost in the middle with Mark Gonzalez on the outside. And now Jay McIntyre there. As he goes around, go back and take a look here. So he floats up just a little bit. And he almost gets sucked into Mark Gonzalez there. Nowhere really for him to go with Ira Kohlhaas, Zach Woods. Like Mark Parkhurst and George Jewell were able to avoid the accident there. So we go back live here. Be down to basically probably a 7 or 8 lap shootout. Bud Barnes has drove a tremendous race, up 11 spots at the moment. Austin Missler's well up 7. Cogswell's up 4. Wes Fuller's up 9. Evan Gibney Jr. currently sitting in 6th, but is up 4. James McCaney is up 8. Definitely have some drivers with some big moves. As they get them stacked up here. So they'll get them stacked up. Pace lights will go out on the pace car, and we will be set to resume with, I'm going to say, probably about 7 laps to go. So we'll see if the pressure gets turned up a little bit in these last 7 laps, or if everybody's going to kind of hang back and see what's going to happen. It's definitely who's your friends and who'd you make mad lately? Or where are your teammates? As Greg Wood Jr. is up here basically all by himself. Cogswell and Missler are on the outside line, teammates, so they should stay hooked up. We'll get through this lap, and they'll have one more to get all stacked up and sorted where they want to be. And go through here and take a look at some of these throwback paint schemes. Bud Barnes with his kids lawn service one. Austin Missler, his Mountain Dew, as always. Adrenaline Show. Jonathan Cogswell, the Roasted Jim's Coffee. You can get a different view of, not really a good view of Wes is there. Monster Energy, Stemplify Marines. So as we get back up front and get ready to release the monsters for this last lap shootout here. Ooh, Mark Gonzalez went right into that outside wall. Don't know what happened there. As we get ready to go back green. Bud Barnes on the inside, Missler on the outside. Has got his teammate Jonathan Cogswell behind him. But Bud Barnes has Greg Wood Jr., who's been pushing everybody towards the front. Doesn't really have any teammates too close. I mean, Kevin Gibney Jr. is on that outside lane. We'll see what happens when we get back green as the pace car makes the left-hand turn to go down pit road. Bud Barnes will have the button. As these guys get all stacked up. Geico restart zone. And Bud Barnes is away. Like he's out there all by himself though, so Austin Metzler, Jonathan Cogswell should be able to make the pass, as Bud Barnes didn't have any help the way he got out to that run. These three cars on this outside line are all bumper to bumper. No air in between them at all. Austin Metzler said he's had enough of that and jumps down to the inside. George Jewell spins up into the field there. Go take a look at George Jewell here. Like he gets a pretty good run here. Ooh. What in the world was that? Take a look here. Tapped him and just got shot up the track into the 60 of Zach Woods. Don't know what happened there. Looks like he barely touched him and got shot up the track. Got into the rear of Bill Sleep there, shot up the track into Zach Woods. So we will stack him up again. I'll go ahead and take a break while they're getting this all sorted out. I will be back before we go green. All right, we are back. It looks like they will get stacked up pretty soon here. Probably have 3 laps to go. Basically a natural green-white checker. We've got Cogswell, Kevin Gibney Jr., Austin Metzler, James McCaney, Bud Barnes, Mark Parkhurst, Greg Wood Jr., Wes Fuller, David Mayo, John J. McIntyre, Angel Santiago, Bill Sleep, Zach Woods, and Ricky Gonzalez round out the lead lap cars. Maybe I should be choosing this time. Cogswell and Gibney Jr. are on the front row. Gibney Jr. was the Daytona winner. Try and make it 2 for 2 at Superspeedways here. Making their way through turn 1 here. Everybody's stacked up. Austin Missler and Jonathan Cogswell have been working really well together. Bud Barnes as well. They're all those 3 cars are down on the inside lane. Usually they're stuck on the high side. Kevin Gibney Jr. and James McCaney, Mark Parkhurst are on the high side. We'll see if one of those 6 cars can win the race, or if maybe somebody closer to the back of the pack, if some massive drama happens to end this race. But his teammates on the inside, we'll see if they stay hooked up and can get a good draft going here. The leaders the last few times when they've started the restart, they've gotten out a little bit too fast, too far. So that outside lane, if they stayed hooked up, they could make that run. So we'll see what happens here as Jonathan Cogswell has the button. Makes his way to the Geico restart zone. And he's away. Looks like Austin Missler is going to stay almost right with him. But Kevin Gibney Jr. has got out to almost a 4/10 lead on that outside lane, so he jumps over into the inside and gets in front of Bud Barnes. 3 laps to go. Kevin Gibney Jr. is in third, Austin Missler and Jonathan Cogswell. Kevin Gibney Jr. just got hung out to dry a little bit there, as those top 3 cars abandoned him and went to that high side. Greg Wood Jr.'s on the high side as well, with Mark Parkhurst closing in behind him. Jumps down to the inside. Parkhurst follows. Gets in front of Kevin Gibney Jr. Wes Fuller as well goes down there. We will have 2 laps to go now, as Cogswell and Greg Wood Jr. battle it out up front here. Give that lap to Cogswell. Cogswell, Missler, Bud Barnes. Angel Santiago forces it 3 wide. Trying to get that outside lane to really come in, as he is moving up through the field. Greg Wood Jr. and Cogswell are battling back and forth. Greg Wood Jr. has teammate Mark Parkhurst. Cogswell has Austin Missler pushing him. Kevin Gibney Jr. is trying to push Wes Fuller out of the way to get up to his teammates there. This outside line is flying. We got Cogswell, Missler, and Bud Barnes. White flag in the air. Last lap. John McIntyre jumps down in front of Greg Wood Jr. is going to try and make a run on the outside line. Austin Missler, Bud Barnes, and Jonathan Cogswell. These guys definitely put on a show that last part. Let's go back and take a look here. Greg Wood Jr. tried to make that work. Cogswell was leading. Jumps down in front of Missler, drops down in front of Bud Barnes. Greg Wood Jr. tries as well, but they just can't quite make it work here. Let's go ahead and get back live here and get see if we can get Austin Missler up here. Hey, Austin, mic up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, I do. How you doing?
Oh, not too bad. Heck of a race there, man. A way to bring it home at the end.
Yeah, it was crazy. Me, Bud, and Jonathan worked together all race. We had Mark and Ira. Ira ended up in the crash real early, but Mark still worked with us while he was a lap down. And us three at the end were able to work together and pull that off 1, 2, 3, which was awesome.
Yeah, you guys definitely were working together. I saw you jump down in front of Bud Barnes and made that nice run on Cogswell. Cogswell was still able to finish third, so.
Oh, yeah, barely over Greg, which was great. But I saw Bud with the run, and I had to try to take it. I almost blew up on the backstretch. My oil temp got so hot, and I had to back off a little bit, but that gave me a huge run down the front stretch.
Yeah, definitely. Well, anybody you want to thank tonight?
SMMR with me, Bud, Jonathan, Mark, Ira. We were doing great there. That whole race, we ran up front. It was an awesome race. Great points day for our team as well. And Mark is a new addition to our team this week because his other team kicked him off. So we were happy to have him, and he's been a big help already, and hopefully he helps even more at the 1.5 miles coming up.
Definitely. Well, I will let you get back to celebrating your win here and look forward to seeing what you can do next week at Vegas.
All right. Appreciate it. Have a good night.
You too. That was your winner there. Let's go ahead and get Bud Barnes up here. Hey, Bud, mic up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, I do.
Hey, man. Heck of a race. You were running up front most of the race.
Yes, sir.
Glad to see you get up there in P2, up 10 positions. How was the car feeling?
Oh, it was feeling great, to tell you the truth. Even being up front, the car handled great, to tell you the truth. That middle line was where to be at all times.
Yeah, it's definitely what we kind of were noticing when you guys were running. You were able to hold on there for P2. You guys worked together all race. Pretty much played the way you wanted it to. Yeah.
Yeah. Me and the teammates had a good talk throughout the whole race. We were communicating, making sure that we all could get in line with each other and just help each other get to the front.
Well, anybody you want to thank tonight for that car there?
Oh yeah, definitely. I want to thank my teammates for sure. Austin, Jonathan, Ira, and our new addition, Mark. And I want to also thanks for my sponsor, Kids Lawn Service is my personal sponsor. So I want to definitely thank them for helping me out this year. And just quick shout out to everybody in the league. You know, they're all doing really great this year. So it's been really fun.
Awesome. Well, I will let you go finish celebrating your podium there,
Yes, sir. Thank you.
and I will maybe talk to you next week after Vegas.
We'll see.
All right.
All right, thanks.
Yep. Bye. Hey, Jonathan, Mike up in the booth. You got a copy?
Sure do.
Hey, man, heck of a race. You guys were making that outside line work. If you guys got hooked up, you could definitely tell it was a faster line. How was the race from your point of view?
We worked together the entire time, and everything kind of worked out exactly like we planned, so it all worked out really great. We lost a teammate early, and we kind of lost our 4th place driver, but all in all, we still managed to get top 3.
Yeah, it definitely looked like you guys were out there having fun working multiple lines. Looked like you guys kind of like almost like the middle line, and it seemed to be one of the faster around the track as soon as you guys got hooked up and stayed hooked up.
As a team, we've been getting better and better every week, so it's really the team coming together.
Definitely. Well, anybody you want to thank on that car tonight?
Like to thank Lucky Ducks for making my car, and Roasted Gems Coffee for the sponsorship, and get Lucky Ducks for the code and say 15%.
All right. I will let you go back to celebrating your podium finish here.
Thank you much. This is great.
Thanks. All right. So that was the top 3. And now we will get the results here. So Austin Missler is able to bring home the win. Bud Barnes in 2nd, Jonathan Cogswell 3rd, Greg Wood Jr. in 4th, Kevin Gibney Jr. 5th, Wes Fuller, John J. McIntyre in 7th, Angel Santiago brings home a top 10 in 8th, Bill Sleep, Ricky Gonzalez, Mark Parkhurst, James McKinney, George Jewell, David Mayo, Zach Woods, David Madzpa, Ira Kohlhaas, and Mark Gonzalez. And Matt Langley round out the field. So that was one heck of a race. Next week they go back to Vegas, and they bring out their Scratch and Claw midseason tourney down to the final 4 with Cogswell, Parkhurst, Howell, and Missler. So definitely tune in next week to watch that. For everybody here at Sim Racing Media, this is Mike Damoni. Good night, and I will see you next week.